On the surface, Rick and Morty is whimsical, funny, and downright obnoxious. And I mean that as the highest possible compliment. It's a cartoon where a man turns himself into a pickle to get out of family therapy. It invented a holiday around screaming, "Show me what you got." Half its episodes are basically an excuse to draw a monster doing something weird. But here's the thing nobody warns you about when you start watching Rick and Morty. Somewhere between the fart jokes and the interdimensional cable, it sneaks up on you. One minute you're laughing at a talking cat, the next you're staring at a 70-year-old scientist alone in his garage, and your eyes are filled with tears. So today we're doing something different. 7 episodes that quietly prove this silly adult cartoon is one of the most emotionally honest shows on television. Get ready, because this is going to be an exhilarating ride. Season 4, Episode 8, the Vat of Acid episode. We open with Rick and Morty in space gearing up for a heist.
So, we should be in and out, simple exchange, not even really an adventure, and if anything goes wrong, which it won't, jump into the same vat of acid I jump in.
Morty hates the idea, and Rick gets annoyed, insisting that the plan is solid and that nothing will go wrong. Not surprising, things go wrong, and Rick and Morty have to hide inside the fake vat of acid. The aliens stay a bit to process their sudden death, while Rick and Morty have to wait. More disaster breaks out when the aliens try to kill a rat in the fake vat of acid, and Morty becomes impatient because of the elaborate plan that seems high effort for a simple task.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Just admit it was a shitty idea!
Having a grandson?
A vat of fake acid? Are you dying?
Then turns the tables and baits him by suggesting that maybe Rick can't actually pull them off.
What you're trying to do was called negging. It was called reverse psychology.
So Rick, out of pure spite, builds Morty a device with save points. Like a video game. Press the button, and you can jump back to any moment you saved. Morty is thrilled. He does everything he ever wanted with zero risk. He meets a girl, falls in love with her, and lives a whole love story. Jerry presses the device to reset it to the last saved date, before Morty ever meets the girl of his dreams. Morty tries to explain what's going on, but during the struggle he accidentally hits the device again after she resisted him. And then the rug comes out.
I mean, you did everything you did. It all happened.
No, but the respawn button, the do-over.
It's not a do-over. You just did it. Over and over.
What are you saying? What did you do?
I think it's more appropriate to ask, what did you do? You see, Morty, you weren't saving your place and going back. I don't respect time travel. If Ant-Man and the Wasp can do it, I'm not interested. It wasn't so much a do-over as it was isolating a moment in time, splitting your probable selves, and shunting you into a near-duplicate, equally probable reality.
Think about what Morty actually wanted. He didn't want adventure. He wanted to live without consequences, to feel the good parts, and rewind past the pain. And isn't that the exact fantasy your brain sells you on your worst days? I wish I could go back. I wish I could undo it. I wish I could just skip this part. The episode's answer is quietly merciless. A life you can rewind isn't a life. The love story only meant something because it couldn't be taken back. The second you make it disposable, it turns into nothing, and Morty's holding a graveyard of deleted people to prove it. Honestly, the first time I watched this episode, I was genuinely a little freaked out. They turned a video game mechanic into a meditation on mortality. The second is the autoerotic assimilation, Season 2, Episode 3. Rick reunites with an old flame called Unity.
Unity?
And Unity is a hive mind, a single consciousness that controls entire planets full of people at once. Rick and Unity have history, and it is intense. They basically throw the universe's biggest, most reckless bender, puppeteering an entire species for kicks. But underneath the party, something's off. Unity starts losing control of its collective the longer it's around Rick. From creating a civilization built on organization and purpose, to a chaotic planet filled with destruction. Being with Rick is destabilizing, even for a literal god mind made of millions of people. So Unity does the responsible thing. It leaves.
Doing this in notes. I'm not strong enough to do it in persons.
I realize now that I'm attracted to you for the same reason I can't be with you. You can't change.
The episode is actually hiding something deeper. It's really about addiction and a man so corrosive that he can throw an entire hive mind off balance. Unity's note is the gut punch. It tells Rick that it has to leave for its own good, that being around him makes it worse. Less itself. Rick is so much that even a being made of millions of unified minds can't stay healthy near him. That's not a flex. And then comes the scene. The one this episode is actually remembered for, and it's just an old man, alone, after everyone left, deciding he's done. And the universe doesn't even let him have that. He passes out before the machine fires. He's too drunk to even succeed at ending it. I think about how bold that was for a comedy in 2015. Rick is the most powerful person in any room. He controls a hive mind for fun. And the second he's alone, all that power is worth exactly nothing. This episode is on this list because it's the episode that first told audiences flat out, this show is not what you think it is. Being the smartest person in the universe doesn't save you from being alone in it. If anything, that may be the cause of his loneliness. Next is Pickle Rick, Season 3, Episode 3. This one, the meme, the t-shirts. The episode your one friend wouldn't shut up about in 2017. And here's my pitch to you. Everybody remembers the pickle, and almost nobody remembers what it's about. The family is going to therapy after Summer and Morty had issues at school. Rick does not want to go. So Rick turns himself into a pickle. His grand excuse for skipping therapy, which he pretends is not the reason for turning himself into a pickle, is to literally remove his own arms and legs and become a vegetable on the table. What follows is a glorious, hyper-violent action movie. Pickle Rick builds himself a suit of rat corpses and machinery and murders his way out of a sewer and a Russian compound. It rules. It's also a complete misdirection. Because the real episode is happening in the therapist's office. While Rick is off being an action hero, Dr. Wong is quietly dismantling this entire family. The whole time, Beth is being defensive because Dr. Wong is dissecting the pickle incident and building on Rick as the major cause of the family's dysfunction. And when Rick finally shows up, still in his blood and filth rat suit, she delivers what is basically the thesis statement of the whole series.
You asked.
Rick, the only connection between your unquestionable intelligence and the sickness destroying your family is that everyone in your family, you included, use intelligence to justify sickness. You seem to alternate between viewing your own mind as an unstoppable force and as an inescapable curse. And I think it's because the only truly unapproachable concept for you is that it's your mind within your control. You chose to come here, you chose to talk, to belittle my vocation, just as you chose to become a pickle. You are the master of your universe, and yet you are dripping with rat blood and feces, your enormous mind literally vegetating by your own hand. I have no doubt that you would be bored senseless by therapy.
Is the symbolism, which is right there, and so easy to miss because the rat fight is so cool. He's a soft, vulnerable little pickle. And what does he do? He builds armor out of dead things and machinery to protect the soft part. Men would rather build a war machine than admit they're soft inside. I really like how the writers buried the whole point inside the exact spectacle that distracts you from it. And the ending? Brutal. Summer and Morty, the kids, actually want to keep going to therapy. And Rick and Beth, the two geniuses,
Really?
just
Like,
blow
go
it off
somewhere?
and go
Yeah,
get drinks.
Let's drop the kids off.
The
and
healthy
go tie
choice is
one on.
right there, and the smart
Absolutely.
people walk away from it.
I liked
Avoidance
her.
is easy when you're clever enough to make it look like a
So, what are you
choice.
thinking, like Smokey's Tavern? Maybe Shoney's?
Yeah, either
Number 4 is Ricksty Minutes, Season 1, Episode 8. On paper, Ricksty Minutes is the least serious-looking episode on this list. Most of it is Rick giving the family a cable box that gets TV from every dimension, and they just watch garbage. Improvised alien commercials, ants in people's eyes, Garfield with hands coming out of its head. It's basically the writers goofing off. But there's a B-plot, and the B-plot is everything. Summer discovers she was an unplanned pregnancy.
We know you thought there were unturned tables.
What are you talking about?
All this time you've been thinking, what if that loser Jerry hadn't talked me out of the abortion? Well, now you know. You'd be a doctor. Whoop-de-doo. You'd also be drinking wine, alone in a house full of exotic birds. And I'd be on DiCaprio's yacht, banging Kristen Stewart.
You thought about getting an abortion? Everyone thinks about it. Obviously, I'm the version of me that didn't do it. So, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We learn that Jerry and Beth have interesting and fulfilling lives in all their alternate universes. And Summer feels like her parents only got married and gave up their dreams because of her. She wants to run away because she feels like a mistake. And to understand why Morty stops her, you have to back up 2 episodes to Rick Potion number 9. In Rick Potion number 9, Rick accidentally mutates the entire human race into hideous monsters and cannot undo it. So his solution is horrifying. He finds a parallel dimension where a version of himself just fixed the problem and then immediately died in an explosion. And Rick and Morty slip into that world and bury their own dead bodies in the backyard. So when we get to Ricksty Minutes and Summer is melting down about being a mistake, Morty says the thing that no other show would let a kid say. He tells her about the grave, and then he gives her the best pep talk in television history, and somehow it's comforting. He tells her basically, nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's going to die.
Oh, hey, Morty, you
And
just
here's
missed
the
a
wild
preview
part,
for your
it
dad's
actually
Citizen
works.
Kane.
It
Doesn't
calms her
matter.
down.
Hey,
Because
if
Morty isn't
your
being
mother
cruel,
and I
he's
had to split
offering her the
custody,
one
how would
thing
you guys
that
choose?
actually helps.
Doesn't matter.
If
Breaking
nothing is
news.
preordained, then "you're a mistake" stops being an insult. You're not a mistake. Nobody was supposed to be here. The pressure's off. This is the episode that quietly installs the show's entire operating system. Every philosophical thing the show does later, the multiverse, Rick's whole deal, it all traces back to a kid burying himself and learning to keep going anyway. I think this is the most underrated episode in the whole series, honestly. People rank the flashy lore episodes, but this is it. 2 kids deciding to live in a meaningless universe together in front of a TV. Number 5, The Ricklantis Mix-Up, Season 3, Episode 7. This is the bait and switch of the century. The title promises an Atlantis adventure. Our Rick and Morty leave for Atlantis and the camera doesn't follow them. Instead, we spend the entire episode on the Citadel, the city populated entirely by thousands of alternate Ricks and Mortys. It's 4 interwoven short films, with traces of typical Rick and Morty shenanigans, about a society where every single citizen is the same 2 people and they've still built a class system, a police state, slums, and an election. We follow a factory worker Rick on an assembly line, a new cop Rick partnered with a corrupt cop Morty, 4 school kid Mortys on a field trip, and a charismatic Morty running for president. Here's the genius. Everyone in this city has the same IQ. They're all Rick, or all Morty.
I'm more Rick than any of you.
Natural hierarchy, and yet there's a brutal one anyway. Rich Ricks ride in sports cars while poor Ricks ride the train and stare. Mortys are second-class citizens, and yet a Morty still contests for president. The show is saying, it's not about who you are, it's about where the system puts you. Strip away every difference between people, make everyone literally identical, and exploitation still finds a way to invent a bottom rung. And then there's Simple Rick. A candy company has trapped a Rick and is farming his happiest memory, a single afternoon with his infant daughter, squeezing it into a wafer to sell. His genuine love for his kid has been turned into a product. If you want the cleanest image of capitalism turning human feeling into inventory, it's right there in a cartoon about a candy bar. This episode is so wild that explaining it feels like I'm losing my mind because while it is funny, it is brilliant. The Morty running for president gives a speech about how the real enemy is the exploitative system itself, and he's right. And then he wins, takes power, and we get another beautiful dialogue from Morty that reveals it's evil Morty, the kid who's been quietly playing the long game. He didn't beat the system. He became the top of it. What stays with me is how hopeless it quietly is. The honest cop is let off for the wrong reasons, simply because he is a Rick. The one figure who actually seizes power is the one who stopped believing in anyone. In a city of infinite versions of the same 2 people, the lesson is that goodness gets you ground up, and the only winner is the one who learned to stop caring. That's a heavy thing to bury inside an episode you thought was going to be about mermaids. Number 6. Rick Morty Jack, Season 5, Episode 10. For 4.5 seasons, the show dangled one question. What actually happened to Rick? Why is he like this? Season 3 teased an origin and then had Rick claim he made the whole sad backstory up to manipulate people. Classic Rick. You never knew what was real. Rick Morty Jack finally tells you. And it turns out the backstory was mostly true all along. We learned that another Rick, Rick Prime, murdered our Rick's wife Diane and his daughter Beth. And everything Rick ever became grew out of that single act. He finished the portal gun. He went hunting. He spent years, decades, killing version after version of Rick across the multiverse, trying to find the one who did it. He never found him. And somewhere in that endless revenge tour, he became a depressed alcoholic shell who helped build the very citadel he'd later destroy. Here's what makes this episode peak. It recontextualizes everything. The drinking, the nihilism, the cruelty, the nothing matters speeches. All of it was always a man who couldn't process grief, so he weaponized it. Remember that catchphrase, wubba laba dub dub? Bird Person told us back in Season 1 what it actually means. I am in great pain. And now, we know why he says it constantly. The funniest running gag in the show is a man screaming his suffering out loud and everyone treating it as comedy. And then evil Morty steps in and says the line that should be carved over the entire series.
Of course that's the case. In their minds, they're the underdog. And that's how they justify this.
Morty, I'm not responsible for every fucked up Rick out there.
They literally all say that. They all have that excuse. It's part of their system. None of them have to be responsible. They're all victims of themselves.
The detail that wrecks me. We learn Rick didn't even come back to Morty's family because he loved them. He came back to that dimension hunting for Prime, moved in, and only stayed because the crows dumped him. And Morty hears all of this and chooses to stay with him anyway. That kid forgives a man who has every reason not to be forgiven.
It's just as well.
I think about that more than I'd like to
Second seat's
admit.
a toilet. Oh,
And the bigger idea underneath the lore, the central finite curve, we learn the Ricks built a wall around all the realities where Rick is the smartest man alive, so they'd never have to face anyone smarter. Think about what that means emotionally. Given infinite universes, Rick chose to wall himself inside the ones where he's always right, always on top, never challenged. A man so afraid of being humbled that he imprisoned reality itself to avoid it. Finally, that's Amorte, Season 7, Episode 4. A quick heads up before this one. This episode deals frankly with suicide. It aired with a content warning from Adult Swim itself, and I want to treat it with that same care. If that's a hard subject for you today, feel free to skip ahead. I went back and forth on this, but here's my case. Every other episode on this list buries its depth under spectacle, lore, action, a save point gimmick. That's a Mort doesn't hide. It walks straight up to the heaviest subject a comedy can touch and refuses to flinch or make it cute. It's the bravest thing the show has ever aired. And the network agreed. It's one of the only episodes that opens with a content warning. It starts almost cozy. Rick makes the family his famous spaghetti. Everyone loves it. And then Morty finds out where it comes from. The spaghetti is made from people. Specifically, and this is the part that's so dark, on a certain planet, when a person dies by suicide, their body turns into the best pasta in the universe. Any other death? Nothing. Morty is horrified. So Morty, being Morty, decides to fix it. He insists on attending the funeral of the man they ate and tells the
I just want to be honest about something. After Lawrence died, we, ate him. Wait, we're not werewolves or anything. We come from a planet where, to us, when you guys kill yourselves, you turn into what my planet considers food. Spaghetti. It brought us together. Lawrence brought us together. It just felt wrong not having anyone know that.
Once the secret is out, the planet's leadership realizes the spaghetti is wildly profitable, and they deliberately turn their entire society into a bleak, hopeless dystopia, specifically to drive up the suicide rate and manufacture more pasta to sell. Demand is so high they can't keep up. And for them to change, we get into the life of the last person, Fred on his deathbed who wishes he could die but does not want to because he doesn't want to feed into the system, he agrees to die only to put an end to the atrocity. And this is where the episode becomes one of the best things the show has ever done. We get a montage of Fred's entire life, a full human life, joy, failure, heartbreak, a small triumph, and a quiet despair at the end. In about 90 seconds, the show makes you grieve a man you've never met on a planet that doesn't exist, showing how everybody is the main character in their own story. That's not easy to do. The episode is making an argument about systems that monetize human suffering. That an economy which discovers it can profit from people's pain will, left unchecked, engineer more pain on purpose. It's about the meat industry. It's about despair as a commodity. It's about what happens when the market gets its hands on the most private, painful thing a person can do. And the kick is what it does to Morty. Morty came in as the kid who always believes the truth will make things better, that good intentions are enough. And he leaves having learned the most painful adult lesson there is, that sometimes pulling back the curtain doesn't fix the horror, it industrializes it. A silly cartoon doesn't make you mourn a stranger made of spaghetti. This show does. The deepest thing this dumb cartoon ever did was refuse to look away. So there you have it, guys. While Rick and Morty earned its reputation as a chaotic, burp-filled mess, we know it is the best disguise a piece of art has ever worn. Let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on more mind-blowing content on some of your favorite cartoons. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.